Hello. Could everybody please think about taking your seats? We'd like to get going right on the knocker tonight as we have the awards to go after the general meeting. Jeremy, Barry's over here. About a minute on my watch, Alan, or 2 minutes by the digital one. No, not. I know it's not right. Okay, everybody, the digital clock at the back of the room doesn't quite say 8 o'clock, but we think it is, so we might commence. So, welcome to the general meeting of the Toyota Land Cruiser Club. I'm Bob Fife, TLCC President. On my left are Greg Norris, Vice President, and Alan Kidd, Club Secretary. I normally throw over to my right to our Treasurer, but he is in New Guinea, so he won't be with us. Present as per the attendance book at the back. Are there any new visitors or new members present tonight? Okay, we welcome you on behalf of the committee. Welcome you to tonight's general meeting here at the Liberty Hill Christian Centre. I trust the club will meet with your expectations. If you have any questions about the TLCC, you may ask any of the committee, someone wearing a yellow and black shirt, or any of the other youngsters here tonight. The attendance book is as per the front. Apologies, David and Heidi Rowley. Oh, sorry, what am I talking about? I even talked to David earlier. I'm so used to putting you on there, David, that you're a permanent fixture. No, I'm glad he's here. So we'll say Sally and Noel Ribbengale, Alf and Pat Johnson, unless they're here. No. Colin Richards, Debbie and Mark Oliver, Mark Willock. Not sure if there are any others we should be mentioning. Oh, John Kenny, that's correct. Brian did tell me that. John Kenny's not here either. Okay. The minutes of the previous meeting have been posted at the back of the room. I propose that the minutes of the previous general meeting held on Monday, 6 November, be taken as read and confirmed. Do we have a mover, please? Okay, announcements by the President. I've got what I normally do as a health report, but this one is more like an unhealthy report. As many of you would now know, Bob Kinsella passed away after a cycle accident on the 12th of November. His funeral was attended by Wayne Back and myself. I didn't see anybody else there. And it was a full-on ceremonial affair with a send-off by the New South Wales Fire and Rescue, headed by Assistant Commissioner Murray West, for whom Bob worked for many years, and his coffin was borne into the premises by 8 firemen with his coffin up on their shoulders and the Australian flag on it. So he obviously served there with distinction for 21 years. The club's sympathy is extended to Bob's wife, his son Matthew, his daughter Jess, and Matt and Jess's respective spouses. So R.I.P. Bob. I'm told that the event for Toyota at Willow Glen on the weekend went very well, and it's important to thank Andrew and Lisa Boyd for their organisation and catering of the event. And I can say personally that the adults' Christmas party at Revesby Works Club was very successful, and thank you to Stuart and Anne Robertson for doing the organising and putting it together. I think all those who attended had a great night. It was a pity that that night clashed with the Willow Glen thing, because I'm sure most of the people at the Christmas party would have gone to Willow Glen if it weren't for that. So a bit of a shame that that happened. Now, just a reminder to all that any members wishing to ask questions or to speak during the general meeting that is being streamed live on the club's YouTube channel, please do so from the rostrum here, or wait for a microphone to be supplied. I would normally ask Greg Norris, our Vice President, if he has a report. He's been too busy and doesn't have one, but he'll have a lot to do tonight. Treasurer's report. Well, Mark is not here tonight, so there won't be a Treasurer's report. But that'll all be made up by Gary for the education report.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to touch on something I forgot to mention last month. It was to do with the auto electrical course. We had 11 participants, and 3 of those were ladies. 2 of them were ex-school teachers, and one of them was actually a working theatre nurse. She's still a theatre nurse. And these ladies, they've never looked at an electrical circuit before, never soldered, never crimped, never done anything with electricity or anything like that before. And all 3 ladies completed the tasks, and they weren't the last. So I was very impressed that they were able to do that and just work through the circuits and that. And they had all of them had a great big smile on their face at the end of the course, and this gave me and Elkie a lot of pleasure to see them perform like that. And yeah, it was really good. So that was just something I missed last week. Okay, so towing course, that was conducted in Willow Glen on the weekend of the 11th and 12th of November. It was run by Robin and Ian Moggs. They had 10 participants in 8 vehicles. I think it went pretty well, didn't it, Ian? You happy? Did you want to say anything about it? No? Okay. The only thing was we had a couple of no-shows late, I think on the Friday or the Saturday, so I did ring them up and found out that there was all medical reasons, so I couldn't go crook on them for not turning up. So anyway, basic driver training for November. That was Module 1 was the 14th of November, Module 2 and 3 at Willow Glen on the 18th and 19th of November. It was an interesting mix. We had 14 on the road on the tracks on Saturday and 7 doing Module 3, the recovery. And then on the Sunday we swapped that around. We had 8 on the tracks and 15 doing Module 3. So it was a fairly full day for all the driver trainers anyway. Now, that's now at this stage a list of TLCC websites, the basic driver training for January, that's what we've got coming up. That's on Module 1's on the 16th of January, Modules 2 and 3 on the 20th and 21st. Basic driver training for February, and actually that first one in January is already full. Basic driver training February, so Module 1 on the 13th of Feb, Module 2 and 3, 17th and 18th. We've also got a trip leaders course, which is going to be run by Gareth Davies on the 2nd and 3rd of March 2024. Basic driver training March, Module 1 on the 12th of March, Modules 2 and 3 on the 16th and 17th of March. The auto electrical course has already been set for the 26th and 27th of October. Ian's already given me some dates for a towing course, that's the 9th and 10th of November. And Alan's given me some dates for the HEMA navigation courses. Now all those courses are on the website except Alan's course at this stage. That'll go on shortly. and as the presenters coming forth to run courses notify me, they'll appear on the website and then on the CES and in the club magazine. And that's about it for me. So I'd just like to, on behalf of myself and Elkie, just wish everyone a happy, healthy and safe Christmas, and we'll see you in 24.
Thank you, Gary. So from Gary, promotions is, we don't have a promotions officer, but John has a photo montage or a video or something of that nature to show from Willaglen on the weekend. Thank you, John. And thank you to whoever put that together. So next we have Social Director's Report. Now, Debbie is away, so I'm going to read this out for her, and I'm going to have to battle to, she has written this in the first person. I've got to try and turn some of its parts of it into the third person, so we'll see how we go. It has been a very good year for social activities, with the number of attendees starting to climb again as we move past the COVID shutdown years. 5 major social events have occurred, including Easter, fireworks, Halloween and Christmas, all at Coolanilly, plus the adults' Christmas party held at Revesby Workers Club. It has been great to see so many families come to our Coolanilly events, with many families coming regularly and building friendships with other members. Debbie has had an enormous amount of help and support this year, and she wants to thank those members who have taken lead roles with events. Andrew and Lisa Boyd led our fireworks spectacular in June. Halloween happened because Sarah Warren volunteered to coordinate the kids' activities, and Andrew and Lisa once again volunteered to cater. Sue and Ken Duffy took on the very big task of organising the recent kids' Christmas party, and Stuart Robinson, and I'll add this in, and his wife Anne, coordinated our adult Christmas party for this past weekend. In addition, there have been many members who have contributed by helping out at these events. Debbie wants to thank everyone who came along, participated and stepped in to help out, in particular the team of long-time club members who have the know-how about what needs to be done and how best to do it. Debbie also wants to praise the hard work of the Coolanilly Working Bee volunteers who worked really hard to get the property ready for these events. Brian, would you please pass on Debbie and Mark's sincere thanks to everyone at this coming weekend Working Bee. It simply wouldn't happen without this combined assistance from everyone. Speaking with Sue after the kids' Christmas party, she was so delighted that everyone pitched in and helped in all aspects of the weekend that she's going to take them all out for dinner. No, actually, I made that one up. So Debbie wishes everyone a very happy Christmas and hopes that you all celebrate or relax with your families, and looks forward to seeing you all in 2024. So thank you from Debbie. Land Ministry report, Brian.
Evening, everyone. I'll start with the properties. At Willow Glen last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, we had a working bee down there. Small number turned up, but we got a lot done, despite the best efforts of the weather. So we refocused from some outdoor to indoor, so we went through the containers and tidied those up and got rid of quite a bit of rubbish that was laying around, both general rubbish and metal rubbish, which we were able to get rid of at the waste disposal spot. And between showers, one team went out and collected some rocks off the property and placed them along Millendale Road where the pipes come through to try and slow the water down rushing onto the property, because that had started erosion again from recent repair work, so we'll see how that works. The new container down there has now been fitted out with shelving and everything, and all the lawn mowing equipment and whippersnippers have now been housed in that. That covers Willow Glen. Coolandilia this weekend, we have a working bee coming up, which is one of our bigger events, so people are welcome to that. I'd then in general like to thank all the volunteers who have helped throughout the year with maintenance on the properties, and especially those people who managed things while I was away enjoying some travel. In total, we had 78 individual volunteers across the 17 working bees for the year between the two properties. A couple of highlights or achievements in the way of projects throughout the year with the new container at Willow Glen, new steps and railings at Coolandilia, along with the completion of the hut renovations, and we completed a few modifications to the shed with access doors, removing a couple of vinyl doors that were there before. At the moment down at Coolandilia, we have an issue again with the generator. It's not running. Andy Boyd has ordered some spare parts which need to come from England, I'm told, so I'm not sure, without speaking to Andy, when they arrive. There is still electricity down there through the solar and the battery system, so everything works, but we're limited on capacity to what the sun can give us. So if you're down there, just take things easy with the electricity. And I think that's probably enough for me for this year, and we'll see you next year. Merry Christmas to all.
Thank you, Brian. Just before I go on, there's one thing I forgot. Debbie told me that, Sue, you might have a bit of a report you'd like to give. This is part of social.
The Christmas at Coolandilia went very well, with a lot of preparation, but we want to thank Debbie Oliver for the fantastic paperwork that she'd made last year for the kids' party, and I was able to base all the planning on that, so that saved me of having to think it up from scratch. I was also very thrilled with the number of new members that came along and the way they all offered to pitch in and help. And I would like to thank our Santa, Jason Davis. Please stand up. Yeah. And the craft section was run by Catherine, daughter of John and Janice, whose names I didn't write down. She came as their guest, but she took charge of the crafts. And I also want to thank another new member, Raylene Nash, who took charge of the kids' sports. The event would not have gone particularly well if Jenny and John Twine hadn't been there, because they took charge of the kitchen and been to so many events and helped out in the past. They knew how everything should be laid out and when was a good time to start taking food out of plastic bags and putting them in bowls, and yeah, they were just fantastic. Anyway, I think everybody had fun and all the crafty things got used up. And we've got some presents left over which are going to a charity, and I'm sure whoever does it next year we can use the paperwork I've left for the next year's person to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Membership reports. Robin. You need an adjustment.
I don't. It's tall enough for me. No, it's not. Thank you. Okay, so for our membership, we've had 14 new members, come into the club. We now stand at 899 members, within the club. 272 of those members now get the magazine via email. So we are climbing. Thank you for everybody who has renewed. It's great. With the mail out of those stickers, it's taking a little bit of time, to get your stickers. You will get your stickers. It might just take a little bit longer. Thanks.
Thank you, Robin. Four-wheel drive activities. Ian.
Okay, between December last year, obviously if we're doing awards tonight, we don't do a January to December. Between December last year and November this year, we had 14 members run a total of 20 trips, covering a total of 204 days. Well, that's because they ranged from 1 day up to 90. 131 members were listed as going, but quite a few of those went on more than one trip, so I couldn't give you exact numbers. My stats don't go that far. And 16 of the 20 were marked as full. For those interested in the stats, 5 were rated green, 13 marked as blue, and 2 as black. 13 were up to 3 days, 5 up to the 15 days, and 2 were 41 and 90 days respectively. Currently, we have 2 full trips listed on the website, and one of them in this space. Lake Lyell is the one in January that has some space. It is rated black red and is running on the 3rd of January. Then there's Tasmania. We've got one at the end of the month, it's full, and one in February for Vic High Country, which is also full. And funnily enough, it says full, but people still keep booking for trips. There's also the trip leading course that was mentioned earlier, and details are on the CES and the website. Feel free to book in before planning, or just simply plan one anyway. Sue would like to just briefly say something about her full trip, so I'll hand over to her.
Hi, again. Our Victorian High Country trip filled up very quickly, and we have an over full reserve list as well. We're currently in negotiations with another club member for him to offer to take those reserves at the same time or another time soon afterwards. But if anyone else would like to do that, please speak to me afterwards or call me at home. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. General business from members. I think Elkie's in the waiting there.
Good evening, everybody. I'm quite excited to introduce a new product to the clothing range. It's actually not an item of clothing, but rather an item that can open up almost your entire wardrobe to bear the TLCC logo. Bonnie, you may not know this, but you were the inspiration for this, which is why I told you you had to come. Some long time ago, you asked if you could have a visor on the product range, and for the ladies. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it so that you could embroider it, so that was a problem. So I gave it a lot of thought, and whatever I needed to do needed to have the club logo. So I came up with something else. Now, Richard, You let me know when you've got it, okay? Hang on, because it's tiny. Got it? Okay, don't move, right. So eventually I realised that what we needed was a badge. And this could mean, I have to move now, Richard, may I? Thank you. So, just so that we realise what we can do with it, you can put it on your shirt, collar, or pocket. Gary's shirt, obviously. Sorry, Gary. You can put it on a vest or a jumper. If you're going out somewhere important, a business meeting, you can put it on as a lapel pin on for your coat. Hang on. Where are we? Put it on your hat. And, of course, in honour of Vonnie, you can put it on a visor. Now, currently, these three are one-offs because I had to buy them retail. I couldn't get them from my supplier because I had to buy 100 at a time. But since then, I've solved that problem, and there'll be more visors in different colours, not these styles, of course, when they come into stock. So these will sell for 22. The little badges sell for 7. Thank you.
Thank you, Elke. Any other general business from members? Okay. So we do not have a guest speaker tonight because we have our awards night, and that would have taken us out till about 1 o'clock in the morning if we had. Is there any general business from committee? I don't have any. Greg? No. Alan? No. Brian? No. Gary? No. Ian? No. Robin? Okay. So then what we'll do is we'll hand over to the Sergeant at Arms. We'll do the raffle, and then once we've done that, we'll get on with the awards part of the night.
What? Is this microphone working? It is, great. Our Vice President, Greg Norris, is going to draw the first ticket. And the first winner is D52, blue. Blue D52. We have 4 lovely hampers made by Club member Kerry Cottrell. And here's our winner. Bob, would you like to draw the next one? No bribes, Norma. This one is purple W58. Purple W58. Sold a lot of purple tickets tonight. Ah, Jason Day. Yes. Jason's drawn D71. D71 from the Blue Book. Gordon White. Thank you, Gordon. There's 2 hampers left. We do. And another purple one, W85. W85. Thank you. And that's the end of our Christmas hamper raffles. Because I didn't write down my notes when I was making a Santa report, I should have, and I'm really sorry, mentioned Katie and Max, who came down with their ute to be Santa's slave for the Christmas party, for the kids' Christmas party. Beautifully decorated, covered in little reindeers and paintings down the side and lots of tinsel. So, another club member contribution to the party. All these things together made it go really well for the children to enjoy. Thanks again.
Thank you, Sue. Now, I'm going to start with the general awards. Greg, can you get NMB in position, please? General awards, Greg. Okay, the general awards, the way we're doing these, we've got categories of people who've done things at Coolandilly Working Bee, Willow Glen Working Bee, driver training, social events or education courses. We're not going to be specific about any of those. And many of the people, unfortunately, will not be here. But those who are, would you please come up? Greg will give you a wonderful club biro. And Chris will take some photos. Oh. Yeah, okay. When you've picked up your biro, if you can come over here for photos, I'm sorry. So Melina Adatini, who worked on driver training. Melina is not here. Greg, you stay there. Just God. Rob Alexander and Carol Alexander, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees, Willow Glen Working Bees, and social events. Carol and Rob. I'll just keep going here. We have Simon Alsop. Simon worked on both driver training and education courses, but Simon is not here. We have Ian Armstrong, who worked on social events. Is Ian here? No. Victor Ashelford, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees. We have Wayne Back, who worked on education courses, but Wayne is not here. Carmel Barnes. Carmel worked on social events. I don't believe Carmel is here. Craig Bellamy worked on driver training. I don't believe he's here. John Blair gets a mention for both working at Coolandilly Working Bees and Willow Glen Working Bees, and I've got him here with an asterisk because John actually worked on 10 Coolandilly Working Bees this year. I think that's a pretty good effort. Good on you, John. We have Elaine and Sean Bowen, who both worked on social events. Unless I'm mistaken, they are not here. Paul Bowdler, who worked on social events. We had Andrew and Lisa Boyd, who worked on social events. Roger Butler and Rosalind Butler, who both worked on Willow Glen Working Bees. Jason Butler and Leslie Butler, they're normally pretty regulars here. They worked on Willow Glen, Coolandilly Working Bees and social events. Judy Cameron, who worked on education courses. Charlie Cataldo, who worked on driver training. Andrew Shannon, Nathan Shannon, who both worked on Willow Glen Working Bees. Brian Chisholm, who worked on Willow Glen and Coolandilly Working Bees. Brian? Oh, and Sue, by the way. Sue, who worked on both too. Might as well get couples up together. I'll just keep reading names as we go. Greg Christian, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees, as did Rosemary Christian. I believe they're here. Jeff Clark and Marilyn Clark, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees. Michael Cochran, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees. Nathan Collier, who worked on driver training, as did David Coombs and Gary Cooper. Gary? Of course, Gary did also work on education courses in a big way. Elkie Cooper worked on education courses. Jason Davis, who worked on social events. Gareth Davies, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees. I don't think Gareth is here, nor is Claire Davies. Helen Davies, who worked on social events, and Ron Davies. Alison Douglas and Jason Douglas, who worked on social events. Ken and Sue Duffy, who worked on Coolandilly Working Events and social events. Lizanne Evans and Stephen Evans, who both worked on driver training. Dean Fardell and Kylie Fardell, who worked on social events. Richard Farr, who worked on driver training, who worked on social events and worked on education events. Richard, Recce, could you come and get Richard's pen, please, mate? Ian Ferguson, who worked on Willow Glen Working Bees. Fernandez, who worked on social events. Michael Fitzgerald, who worked on Coolandilly and Willow Glen Working Bees. Tom Fuchs and Carol Fuchs, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees. Bob Fife, who worked on driver training and education events. I'll get one later. Thanks. Emmanuel Gabriel, who worked on social events. Jim Gately, who worked on driver training. Peter and Monica Gatti, who worked on Coolandilly Working Abel and Kate Gonzalez, who worked on social events. I think that's pronounced Abel, so I should be careful there. John Gwynn, who worked on social events. Felix Halter, who worked on Willow Glen Working Bees. Donna Hardacre, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees. Sally Harding, who worked on social events. John and Loretta Hayes, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees. John worked on Willow Glen Working Bees and on social events, as did Loretta. And I think John gets an extra little kick because he did 10 Coolandilly Working Bees this year. Renee and Scott Jamison, who worked on social events. Alf and Pat Johnson, who worked on, see, this is looking like Willow Glen Working Bees. But they're not here. No. Tony Johnston, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees. John Kenny, who worked on Coolandilly and Willow Glen Working Bees, but John is part of our people who are not here. Alan Kidd, who worked on driver training. The next one is posthumous, of course. Bob Kinsella, more to give him a mention, I think, who worked on the chainsaw course this year, just gave a bit of a talk, which is probably one of the last things he ever did with the club. Alex Cowwatch, who worked on Coolandilly, Alex and Henry Cowwatch, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees. Karen Cooan, who worked on social events. David Lamb, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees and education courses. Barry Lanigan, who worked on Willow Glen Working Bees, driver training, social events and education courses. Stephen Laws, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees. Craig Lee, who worked on Willow Glen Working Bees, as did Greg Lowe. Is Greg here tonight? Yep, I'm Willow Glen Working Bees. Recce Lumino, who worked on driver training, education courses and social events. Cole Morby, who worked on Coolandilly Working Bees, Willow Glen Working Bees and social events, as did Jenny. Oh, sorry, Jenny is actually only down for Willow Glen Working Bees and social events, but still pretty good. Come on, Jenny, come up. Phil and Cheryl Mead on Willow Glen Working Bees. Martina and Pavel Mergel, who worked on social events. Andrew and Catherine Metcalf, who worked on Coolandilly and Willow Glen Working Bees. Victoria Miller, who worked on social events. Ian and Robin Moggs, who worked on driver training, social events and education courses. Anthony Morpher, who worked on social events. Raylene Nash, who worked on social events. Jeremy Nolan, who worked on driver training. Greg Norris, who worked on Willow Glen Working Bees, driver training and social events. Greg, give yourself a pen, please, man. Mark and Debbie Oliver, who both worked on Coolandilee Working Bees and social events. Theo Orphanis, who worked on social events. Marina Ponomarev, who worked on social events. Katie Regent, who worked on on social events. Katie? Come up and get your pen. Colin Richards, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees. Nicole, I don't know how to pronounce this, R-I-J-S, Ridges, who worked on social events. Alison Ritchie, who worked on social events. Noel and Sally Rippengale, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees. Stuart Roach, who worked on social events. Warren Robinson, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees. Anthony and Christine Ross, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees. Yeah, I don't know how I missed that. And Willow Glen, yeah, fixed. David and Heidi Rowley, who both worked on Willow Glen Working Bees. Ken Ryan, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees and education courses. Jeff Sadler, who worked on social events. Tony and Penny Scott, who worked on social events. Ines Seringer, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees, not here tonight. Keith and Anne Smith, who worked on Willow Glen Working Bees. Mick Smith, who worked on Willow Glen Working Bees, Coolandilee Working Bees. Greg Spencer, who worked on Willow Glen, Greg and Gillian Spencer, who worked on, Greg worked on a, where am I? Well, it looked like Greg worked on a Willow Glen Working Bee and Gillian worked on a Coolandilee one. That's a bit strange. Both at Willow Glen, were they? Okay. I'm not going to give them credit for Willow Glen. Bruce Steele, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees, as did Julie Steele. Luke Stolwerk, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees, and he's another one with a bit of a strike to his name. He worked on 10 of them over the year. Very good, Lutz. Anne Simons, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees. Nimani Sumenawira, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees. Henry Simons Sumorira, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees. Chris Taylor, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees, Willow Glen Working Bees and social events. Max Turner, who worked on social events. John Twine, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees and social events, and Jenny Twine, who worked on social events. Sarah Warren, who worked on social events. Luke Warren, who worked on social events. Brian Weston, who worked on Coolandilee Working Bees. Now, Gordon White for Coolandilee Working Bees, Willow Glen Working Bees and social events, and Gordon gets a special mention because he did actually 11 working bees at Coolandilee. Good on you, Gordon. Gloria White for Coolandilee Working Bees and social events. Peter Williams for social events. And Bill Young for driver training. Now, if somehow somebody got missed, I give great apologies. If anybody wants to send me a dirty email or just let me know, we will fix it up. So now we're going to go on to some slightly, or most definitely more important things. Now, now we're on to committee awards. We have one to John Ferguson. Thank you from committee for your work handling videos at the club general meetings and for your work as a club webmaster. John Ferguson, that'll be presented by Greg Norris. Right, Sue and Ken Duffy. Thank you from committee for your work in organising members to sign the visitors book at general meetings, for organising raffles and other work related for Sue as Sergeant at Arms. That will also be presented by Greg. To Katie Regent and Max Turner, thank you from committee for your work in supplying and serving supper at all of our general meetings. That will be presented by Greg. Robin, you want to get ready? Now, Robin is going to present the next two trophies. Unfortunately, only one of them one's here, but the next one goes to Andrew and Lisa Boyd. Thank you from committee for your work on organising and running at least 2 social events and all that entails. Vonnie and Dushan Bakia, thank you from committee for your work related to welfare, sending cards and flowers, and on occasions visiting hospitals and hospices. Be presented by Robin. Ian, you want to get ready after Rob? Ian. Okay, now Rob and Carol Alexander, thank you from committee for your work on the properties, social events, and just about anything that is ever asked of you, to be presented by Ian Moggs. Gordon and Gloria White, thank you from committee for your work on the properties, social events, and just being you. Brian, I think it's going to be a dud for you, mate, but anyhow. So Brian is about to present the next two things, and I don't think any of them are here. Leslie and Jason Butler, thank you from committee for your work on the properties, social events, and filling in for Elkie on the shop while she was travelling. And John Kenny, thank you from committee for your work on both properties and for filling in for Brian when required. So Brian, thank you for presenting this. Greg, we might let Brian do the next two. Okay. So Chris Taylor, Brian's going to present this one. Thank you from committee. Brian, back up to these ones, mate. Thank you from committee for your devotion to collecting reports to aid in the publication of the club magazine, and for always being willing to go the extra mile, not to speak of leading many trips. Chris. Thank you, Chris. John Hayes, volunteer work on the club properties and helping out on social events. Now, Brian's really having a bad night. We've got long service awards. This one's not mobile. It is bad because nobody's here. We've got Sally and Noel Ribbongale. Thank you from committee for your long-term devotion to Coolandilee working bees. And Anne and Keith Smith, thank you from committee for your outstanding work over the years on the Willow Glen property. So I'm not sure where we'll go with that. Now, I'm supposed to be presenting, but I'll miss out on this too, to Colin Richards, Service Award for thank you from committee for your work as a committee member for the years 2021 and 22. And to Andrew Boyd, thank you from committee in appreciation of your long-term and much valued service on committee from the years from 2007 to 2022. Unfortunately, Andrew's not here, but we will make sure that that gets to him, as will Collins. So now we're on to what I have called the major awards. First one to be presented by Chris Taylor when he's finished with the photography. Going to a member who has definitely been around for long enough to have made a few contributions. Congratulations, John Twine. John, we need you to talk into a microphone, mate.
Thank you for prompting me into that. Now, where was I? Look, thanks very much for everything, but look, what I achieved is because of Chris. Chris encourages me to write a few lines of, stuff which is sometimes not always truthful, but you never let the truth spoil a good story. And I hope you people keep reading the magazine and appreciate what Chris has done for the club. Thank you all.
Thank you. Now, the next trophy is for Trip Leader of the Year, selected and to be presented by Ian Moggs. However, I'm not sure that the person's here. Goes to a newish member who has shown a great willingness to jump into club life and has contributed in such a short period. Congratulations to Emily McPherson. Oh, Emily is here. Excellent. Good on you, Emily. I'm just going to move over here because we're getting, well, hold on, I'm not actually giving the next one. Greg is going to be giving the next one. It's the most enthusiastic member in 2023. This award goes to a man of many talents, a former committee man, a life member, and a fantastic contributor over many years. Congratulations, Colin Morby. I just want to come over here, so I want to get to present to somebody. The next one is the Club Woman of the Year for 2023. In many respects, a no-brainer award for this year, widely known and respected as a forthright person who has contributed much over the years as a former committee person and this year filling in for the club secretary, for Sergeant at Arms and becoming a trivia superstar. Congratulations, Norma Ferguson. Shouldn't be. And the perpetual trophy, you can take the boxes with you if you like.
Thank you very much.
You can come back for these if you like, just to keep them safe on your way home. Okay, just one to go. Now, this one is for Clubman of the Year 2023, selected by committee. This man has been very close a couple of times after contributing a lot of time to the former Willow Glen Challenge, to helping out at social events, to education as leader of the training for the advanced courses and being a long-time term driver trainer, as well as being a perpetually happy person. Congratulations, Barry Lanigan. Congratulations, Barry.
Thank you, boss.
That is your trophy in there, if you'd like to pull it out. And your perpetual trophy. Well done, mate. Congratulations.
Thank you, boss.
Now, Emily, you'd probably be the only one who wouldn't know that the big steel one, that comes back at the next year, that's perpetual. Okay, well, they are the awards. Now, if anybody here feels they should have been, got one of those trophies, just tell your wife or your husband. It's probably not going to make much difference. Okay, well, look, I think it was a great night. I think the people who got their trophies thoroughly deserve them. And the next general meeting will be held on Monday, the 5th of February 2024, here at the Liberty Hill Children's. We'll declare the meeting closed, and thank you very much.